about a video game.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I will be giving my presentation over the Civilization 5 Battle Royale, which is something that I like to think of as humanity's first humane blood sport. Now, while the tradition of competitors fighting to the death has been with humanity for a rather long time, a quote-unquote ethical way to do so has not really been achievable in any way. But strangely enough, something that's occurred fairly recently has, I think, is actually really interesting in the context of blood sports. But before I go into what it is and how this is how it is, first I'm going to define sport and blood sport. A sport is something like soccer or football or whatever you want to call that. I mean, it uses their feet. Why not call it football? A sport is defined by Merriam-Webster as something that's a source of diversion or competition. A blood sport, however, is also defined by Merriam-Webster as you can see, there's two guys cockfighting there, a sport or contest involving bloodshed, usually between animals or humans. Like the only difference between gladiator fighting and cockfighting is one involves two guys, or two chickens, I should say. Two chickens fighting to the death. The other one involves gladiators. But that aside, I'm going to Civilization 5, or rather Civilization, was a video game that was made in 1991 by Sid Meier, and the specific aside is just you, the player, is thrown into a game in the year 4000 BC, and you're tasked with building a civilization to stand the test of time. And you start at the beginning of time, or beginning of human history, then you work your way to near future with space robots, and you somehow conquer the world. Civilization 5 was released just a few years ago in 2010. It is the most recent game in the series. It made a lot of improvements that a lot of fans, like it really improved combat and user interface and improvement, and just lots of improvements all around. And that brings me to well, one of the things about Civ that makes it that is endeared to fans is its AI, which because you just have one player, because this is a single player game, you have to have a number of opponents, all based off of different historical factions, like England or India. And the way that these factions work is, one faction is like, oh, I am Japan. All my units are very powerful in warfare because Japan was known for having great armies. And usually you have a civilization and its legacy. It works its way into the game, and mechanics based on how that civilization actually operated is how the civilization operates. I say usually because there are some cases like India, where in the original Civilization game, India under Gandhi was given the lowest possible aggression rating because Gandhi wasn't aggressive at all. But then, a glitch in the game caused Gandhi's aggression rating to decrease by 2, thus his aggression rating became 255 in binary, meaning he was the most aggressive civilization in the game. The programmers who made the civilization found this glitch so funny that they kept it in the game, keeping Gandhi as the most aggressive leader in human history. Yeah. So yeah, that brings me to the Civilization Battle Royale, and also to Reddit. Reddit is a Reddit is an internet forum website with a bunch of different algorithms that help people discuss and promote content in a lot of ways. It's complicated. There are lots of algorithms, but let's just say that people keep the best content up at the top where they can see it, and that's really the most important thing you need to know. The Civilization 5 Battle Royale is a little topic on Reddit that people like. There is a guy who regularly updates a game of Civilization 5 where he took 61 Civilization 5 AIs, and he put them and he's having them fighting each other to the death in a domination-only match. What that basically means is, imagine if every civilization, quote-unquote civilization, is all existed at the same time, and they're all trying to become the dominant civilization in the world. And this has a lot of really funny things, like having Japan in the Meiji era fighting against Vietnam in the rather recent era of the Vietnam War, and they're fighting China under Mao, and they're fighting Mongolia under Genghis Khan, and they're fighting so many other civilizations. Like I said, 61, and it is a beautiful, just quote-unquote flustercluck of so many different AIs, because all making rather stupid decisions, because that's the thing about video game AI. It is fundamentally stupid, because you can train a computer to, it's very difficult to train a computer to think like a human, so what they do is they just give the computer a bunch of unfair advantages against the player. So I know that these are screenshots taken from the Civ 5 Battle Royale, and you can see that Finland and all the other countries just have their units filled to the brim with soldiers, which is a feat that no human player could accomplish at this stage in the game. Russia here even just making very aggressive military advantages on the surrounding nations. Also here is shown that all this green and yellow is Australia with its gigantic armada, which we all know the unbelievable power of the Australian Navy and how no one crosses Australia because of their unbelievable Navy. I'm going to move here into the questions about the Civ 5 Battle Royale, which I'm sure all of you have lots of questions about it, but is anyone a Reddit user to start things off? All right. Were any of you aware of the Civ 5 Battle Royale? Yeah. Has anyone even ever played Civ 5? Yeah. All right. Does anyone have any questions about how it works? Yes?
So the guy who set this up, how did he manage to get 61 AIs playing at the same time without him actually being involved?
What he did was, there are 61 AIs, and then he is that player number 62, and he created an island at the bottom of the world in Antarctica.
So he's technically in there.
He's in there, but with no units at all. Okay. It's a nuclear submarine at the bottom of the world, so he's technically in the game, just not doing anything.
Pretty cool.
So, anyone have any? I know I kind of went through a lot of the mechanics really fast. Anyone have any questions about Civilization as a game? Yes.
Wasn't there was that one man that it was his favorite game to play this, and he was dying of cancer, and they put him in that. Was that this game? Or was that?
I have not heard that actually.
Okay. All right.
It's not PewDiePie, is it?
I don't think he's dying.
Although, but I feel like you could do that because that in Civilization 5, one of the things that Civilization 5 did that a lot of fans liked was the ability to create mods. Because there aren't 61 civilizations in Civ 5, but there are 61 in the Battle Royale. That is because a large majority, actually, of the civilizations present are mods, just modded in AI, created by fans in the community. And it's allowed for some very, very interesting situations, like Germany under Hitler being conquered by Poland, which is I mean, come on, that's the thought of that just brings a smile to my face.
I'm sorry about that question. I just realized that was Total War.
Yeah, I was just like,
so that was a totally different game.
Yeah. Total War works differently because it's more focused directly on combat and tactics, whereas Civilization, as you can see here, there are a lot of tactics involved, but hold on. yeah, there are a lot of tactics involved, as just lots of positioning involved, but it's also very large game with a lot of focus a lot on infrastructure, and that it's a huge map of Earth, so there's lots of stuff that's happening everywhere. Yeah. Yes?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but somebody told me to play this game and they said that there was something about Greek gods being above it. I don't know, like this whole theme behind it.
Yeah.
You're thinking age of technology.
Well,
Does that go on?
Deus Ex Machina?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because on the actual Reddit for the Civ 5 Battle Royale, which is the fans who created it, they all act as if they were gods watching this entire battle go down, because like I said earlier, it is kind of a blood sport. It's basically computers, AIs, fighting to the death, and we're just watching. And while it is glorious, it's also a little sad watching the AI doing pitifully stupid things like declaring war on neighbors despite massive technological disadvantages and very poor logistics, but still somehow turning it around and conquering Rome from the world superpower. So let's see. Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Is America up in there or no?
Yes. Actually, several American Civs. There's America under Lincoln in the game, as well as Texas under Sam Houston, as well as several Native American civilizations, such as the Blackfoot, and you see Blackfoot there, and the Inuits. Also the Sioux, who are not pictured in this picture, and there's also Canada, which who are surprisingly aggressive. Yeah, that surprises everyone. And an earlier part of the Battle Royale, Canada actually settled all of their cities surrounding America, prompting the Twitter tag Canifest Destiny. The Inuit have remained very strong, despite that, they're just up north, they can't be that strong, that the Inuit have proven to be very strong indeed, leading #2 in the power rankings across the game, and also prompting the Twitter hashtag Inuit to win it. Yeah, like I said, Reddit communities tend to have very good senses of humor. So, any other questions?
Wait, if you went at #2, then who's #1?
Australia. They basically have the continent to themselves.
So since it's set to domination, is everybody really just trying to get to each other, or is there anyone that's kind of hanging back and just making farms? And
a lot of people are doing that, but the game will not end until one civilization has conquered everything. So, did someone ask how long is it going to go on? Yeah, it's been going on for about a month and a half now, and the first civilization in Afghanistan was the first civilization to get to the industrial era about a week ago.
Wait, is that good?
Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, everyone started at 4000 BC, the year in which most historians say history began. All they knew how to do was make farms. And then Afghanistan surprised everyone by getting to the industrial era, building factories and Gatling guns.
Yeah,
then they go
so not even there now.
Yeah. And
It's like the underdogs are winning so far.
there are also a lot of other funny and interesting things happening, like civilizations becoming dominant and non-dominant in other regions where they are not supposed to be, just lots of underdogs, like you said. Any other questions? Yes?
So this is like a day-to-day type thing?
This is a semi-weekly updated thing, every Wednesday and Sunday, the guy who's running the game will post 80 to 90 screenshots taken from the game with narration telling you what has happened and all the important events over the past few days in the game.
So is the actual game plausible or
well, yes and no. But the game is turn-based, so in one span of time, every civilization will do one or two things, and then another span of time, every civilization will do another few things. So you could theoretically save the game and stop it, but it hasn't really. There's a lot of glitches with the process, so. Sometimes a few things have happened, like one of Japan's cities had to get deleted because it caused a glitch, and that caused the joke of, oh, Godzilla came and destroyed one of Japan's cities. All right, any other questions? All right, so I'll just wrap things up here. Like I've been saying earlier, I can't help but praise the Reddit and Civ communities for making this massive AI game between hopelessly, at the same time, gloriously incompetent AIs come together in something that I can only describe as amazing. It's while I'm probably the only person who would compare computer AIs fighting to the death to cockfighting and gladiator fights, I hope I was able to convince you of that a little bit and show you my line of thinking in that as how it's just like, rather than having chickens or something fight to the death, it's just computers. So I hope you all join this wonderful Reddit community that watches computers beat each other senselessly every Wednesday and Sunday.